Hey everyone, let's just jump right into it. For a lot of young Africans today, relocating abroad isn't just a distant pipe dream anymore, right? It's a very real, concrete plan. I mean, open up your phone right now. Your feed is probably flooded with images and videos from places like Canada, the UK, Germany, you name it. We see people showcasing better lives, grabbing higher paying jobs, and seemingly tapping into limitless new opportunities. It's a super powerful image. But in this explainer, we're going to break down the actual realities behind those curated posts. We're looking closely at the data and the narrative surrounding this massive wave of relocation.
Success only exists abroad. Wow. When you're constantly bombarded with other people's highlight reels and glamorous moments overseas, it is so easy to fall into that exact dangerous mindset, isn't it? It's a growing narrative, and honestly, it stems directly from consuming flawless, filtered versions of other people's lives. But we have to ask, is it the whole truth?
Which brings us to this absolutely critical question. What if there is an entirely different side to this story? What if the dream of relocation also comes packaged with hidden struggles, crazy social pressure, and deeply personal sacrifices that simply never make it onto our timelines? In this explainer, we're pulling back the curtain. We're going to look at both sides of the coin, directly from our source material, to understand what is really happening out there.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the real positive changes. Because look, we have to start by being completely fair and impartial here. We are definitely not here to dismiss the genuine value of migration.
Let's be real, relocation can absolutely be a life-changing, amazing decision for a lot of people. Moving abroad often grants legitimate access to resources people might not have had back home. We're talking about better education systems, access to higher-paying jobs, generally safer environments, and incredible global exposure. Honestly, for some folks, relocating absolutely is one of the best decisions they will ever make. It opens doors to opportunities that are very real and very valuable.
But, as you probably guessed, it gets a bit more complex. Let's move into Section 2, lifting the veil, the unseen realities. Because the problem doesn't start with the relocation itself. The problem starts when people only get to see the highlights.
The contrast here is actually pretty wild. On one hand, you have the digital illusion, the perfectly curated life in Canada, the UK, or Germany. But on the flip side, you have the harsh, unspoken realities that new arrivals actually face. Nobody is posting selfies of their sleepless nights. Nobody is talking about their profound loneliness. And very, very few are honest about what it really takes to start your entire life over from absolutely zero.
So, a huge piece of this puzzle is the financial shock that often hits the moment someone lands. Just look at this list. Rent, bills, transportation, taxes, insurance. Many people arrive abroad and realize, oh, wow, life here is far, far more expensive than I ever imagined. Suddenly, the crushing weight of all these compounding expenses turns a country that looked absolutely perfect online into a massive source of financial and mental stress.
And hey, that stress isn't just about money, it's deeply emotional. Consider what isolation truly means in this context. Back home, you likely have family, friends, neighbors, an entire support system around you. But abroad, everything changes. You might spend months trying to adjust to a completely different culture, harsh weather you aren't used to, a new language, a totally different lifestyle, all entirely on your own. It takes a massive emotional toll, and honestly, some people end up silently battling depression simply because they feel so alone.
That invisible, quiet struggle leads us directly to Section 3, the trap and the pressure. This is where the illusion created online starts to have real-world consequences for the folks left back home.
Let's unpack where this quote comes from. There is a massive, heavy pressure from migrants to, quote-unquote, appear successful to their families and friends. A lot of people abroad are struggling quietly, but they still post luxury content online because they don't want others to know the truth. This creates a really dangerous illusion. People back home see the fake luxury and they begin to think this exact quote: if I can just leave this country, all my problems will disappear. It creates a false narrative that relocation is some kind of magic cure.
But here is the hard truth. Relocation does not automatically solve your life problems. In fact, it often exposes entirely new challenges that many people were simply never prepared to face. It's basically exchanging one set of problems at home for a completely different set of problems in a foreign land. And that pressure cooker leads directly to a vicious cycle. Because of the illusion of easy success, people panic. They rush the process. They borrow money they can't afford to pay back. Out of pure desperation, they trust fake agents. They completely ignore proper research, and ultimately, they arrive abroad without any real plan. The truth is, relocation is not a bad thing, but relocating blindly by following these steps, that is incredibly dangerous.
So how do we fix this? Let's jump into our final section, Section 4, Planning Wisely for True Success. If doing it blindly is the trap, doing it with serious intention is the key.
Before making any move, you have to stop and ask yourself, do I actually have a real plan? And I mean a step-by-step, thoroughly researched plan, not just a hope based on a social media post.
Next up, we have to look hard at the numbers. Am I financially prepared? Think back to those heavy burdens we discussed earlier, the rent, the taxes, the insurance. Realistically assessing your finances against those unseen realities is absolutely crucial before you buy that plane ticket.
Then, give yourself a reality check with this. What skills do I have? You are entering a highly competitive global market. You have to ask yourself what practical value and experience you are bringing to the table that will allow you to survive and thrive in a totally new economy.
And look, we must be prepared for adversity. What happens if things become difficult? This forces us to think about contingency plans and emotional resilience. If the job falls through or if the isolation becomes overwhelming, what is the backup plan?
Finally, this might literally be the most critical question of this entire explainer. Am I relocating because of purpose or pressure? Are you moving because you have a genuine ambition and a clear path? Or are you moving because you feel pressured by the social media illusion of everyone else's supposed success?
So what does this all mean? The crucial point we take away from all this data and all these experiences is simply this. There is no single formula for success. At the end of the day, relocating abroad is a deeply personal decision. For some, it truly opens life-changing doors. For others, it becomes a difficult, isolating journey they never expected. Some people succeed abroad, some struggle abroad, and crucially, some people build incredibly successful lives without ever leaving their home country.
Which brings us to our final takeaway. The goal should not just be to leave. The goal should be to grow, succeed, and build a better future, wherever you are. So before you book that ticket, look past the digital illusions and ask yourself, are you truly running toward a well-planned future, or are you just running away from the present? Think about it.